Hello, everybody. We are back, and yes, I know this is technically episode 6 and not any future episodes. But if you guys remember, Disney skipped these episodes, so I'm going to rewind back. And if you're watching on the playlist, it's fine since we're going in chronological order. If you are just watching this right now, go check the playlist just to catch up with the other previous episodes, but I'll just let you know this episode does not actually take place after or before any of the other episodes unless we get to more interesting stuff. But I can tell you that there's actually one clue in this where this episode does take place after a certain episode, but it's really hard to tell, or it could just be epic foreshadowing for all I know. We do start the episode with these two. We got a Kim episode again, and to be honest, Kim is more of a likable character at this point. And now I know her GF's name. Her name is Ondine, which is kind of funny. I almost said Undine because of how most of these characters actually kind of say it, but it's Ondine. I don't know if that was actually a reference because I do remember that Miraculous came out just a tiny bit after Undertale. It could just be a little bit of that, but it does fit her character very nicely. Also, I do like the dress, the clothes that she's wearing. Although it's not what she normally wears. She usually wears a swimsuit, but if this is her casual clothes for school, it's really cute. It does seem like Ondine basically just wants to at least get a little kiss with Kim, at the very least, but Kim is just a bit too playful. Of course, this is technically the only good screenshot and early in this episode I can get. We got these three guys in the background. So if you guys remember from the one with the one episode where basically they kind of quote unquote ruined Marinette's character in a way, all the build up that she had for the previous episode. In the middle, that's the same guy who talked to Zoe in that one ending of that episode. I watched the other reviews or the previous episodes. Like, this is episode 6, so I think maybe episode 5 or 4 might have this character. But the other two are basically his posse. These guys are technically the new bullies in the series. And at least I know that one of them does know Zoe for a very long time already. But yeah, the three are bullies. You got basically the leader. The most charismatic one, the one that's the most mischievous, and the big dumb stupid guy who's not strong. As we say, the episode name is Sleeping Syren. Marinette, Aya, and the rest of the girls, along with Ondine, are just talking about, communication with their boyfriends or girlfriends, because, well, for one thing, it's something that now almost all these characters do have. So it might be a very good time to just talk about it, Now Marinette and Aya are technically good terms with their boyfriends so far in terms of communication. I think for Marinette and Adrien is positive, of course, but for Aya and Nino, it's kind of iffy because we don't have to see them a lot. We do know they're technically equal happiness just like with Marinette and Adrien, but Aya and Nino, we never have to see them a lot recently in this season. So yeah, and here's a white screen with the girls with Maylin, one with Ivan. Ivan is pretty quiet when it comes to family matters and doesn't want to talk about his family all that much. And Maylin does trust that Ivan will tell her about it because he does sometimes. It just takes a little time because of how Ivan is, which makes sense. It is part in his character where if he's comfortable enough, he will actually tell the truth. Basically, it's basically a steady road for him. As for Julika and Rose, apparently those two are a confirmed couple, which makes sense. But this also implies that this is episode 6, so episode 7 was the solidification, but episode 6 is also the true confirmation. So episode 6 is when these two are basically revealed to be a true couple, not in episode 7, which is good, technically speaking. But it also comes into a sort of foreshadowing thing, where the reason why it's a foreshadowing thing is because they say they're technically good terms with each other, just talking and friendly-ish and stuff like that. But they never actually show anything. It's been hinted that they didn't actually say anything about their feelings towards each other just yet. Just their actions basically do the talking. But it does seem like the majority of the rest of the friend group thought they are together, which in fact they are technically not. Very complicated, but since it's season 6, I mean, like, it's foreshadowing to season 7. I mean, episode 6 foreshadowing to episode 7. I don't know if it said episode or season earlier. I hope it said episode. Either way, well, Kagami and Felix are still a thing, which is surprising. Kagami does say that it's harder to have contact with Felix because overseas, and how they do it? Well, her excuse, they just do like video calls, which is a normal thing. But what they actually did is that Kagami and Felix, and it's maybe the more romantic side of things, and this would be like a thing that Marinette and Adrien might have done if they were a little bit more level-headed in a good, and not saying they're bad already. It's just like if they were more like not so stuck in their teenage behavior, it's a possibility. But yeah, Kagami and Felix basically just fly over the sea to see each other and kiss in midair and just talk about it in midair because they both have flying abilities. I guess the peacock can fly, which is surprising, but I don't know. I also do apologize if you guys hear any background noise or like sneezing. As for Ondine, she's a little upset that Kim never really tried to kiss her or anything like that. But like when all the girls like, why not just tell him that you want to kiss? And she's like, it has to be like a fairy tale. And while it's sweet, to be honest, and this does mirror Marinette's, because Marinette wants to be more fantasy-like, and she wants like that too. And just kind of like Marinette, she actually has these big fantasy dreams, right? But unlike Marinette, she's much more like him in a more innocent mind space. Unlike Marinette, who's technically early times a creep, a relatable creep, but still a little bit of a creep. I would admit that. But yeah, so Marinette does give her the idea, just maybe like, how she and Adrien first kissed. And she does retell about what happened in that fateful episode where, Adrien's gonna leave on the plane, but she got her scooter and then they're just going to like, and then she stopped the plane before Adrien goes and then they get the first kiss. We don't talk about what happened after because afterwards it was pretty sad. Adrien still had to go because of the dad. That's about it. But yeah, it was pretty romantic, but people kind of took it a little too literally that that's exactly what they have to do. And surprisingly, Marinette thought that was a good thing too. Mei Lin actually had an idea to just have her write a poem, and they all agreed for that. We do cut back to these guys. One of them, I think it's the guy on the left, he basically did a recording for basically just what happened. And of course, they are focusing on an idea how to break up this couple. It does seem like these three really want to break up couples for some reason. We don't know why, but that seems to be their main goal, and it's like the only goal that they have for now because this is season 6, and technically this is the first time these three actually appeared. These guys are just kind of bullies. And yeah. So up first is the guy in the middle. I don't care what their names are because technically speaking, the guy on the right has basically no name to what I remember. The guy on the left does technically, and I mean, the guy in the middle, he has confirmed name, I just don't bother to know because I don't care about him that much. It's not like he was that important. So he basically kind of, not blackmail, but he kind of just tricks him, kind of do these innocent type of stuff to make them break up. So he has these big shoe flippers that he can give to Kim for free in the exchange that he does not talk to his girlfriend. Kim does not exactly question it, but it was a pretty easy thing to do. So he was a bit more gullible in that case. But let's remember, if you guys aren't mad at Kim, it would make sense if you guys hate him like in the early seasons. But throughout the other season, he does prove that he can be a better person. It's just that as his character, he is a bit too childlike, and for the most parts, he seems a bit too carefree. If you really want me to say, it's technically like Boom Sonic, but with minus the implied sass and just accidental sass. It's kind of like that. And then he met up with Ondine, and he just doesn't say anything. He was about to say something, but he just doesn't. And then they kind of just walk off to the garden. Also, I looked up Kim's name. I realized that he's Asian. And that's not exactly it. Kim just looks like a normal guy, so I never actually noticed. When I looked up just to be sure on the Ondine's name, Kim has a full Asian name, and even with the new redesign from Disney, it does not look like he's Asian. But I guess he is the Monkey King. I thought it would just be a reference, but apparently I guess it was culturally appropriate. But also Kim's name being like full Asian, I could say the whole thing, but even though I'm Asian, it's not exactly my language that I could actually pronounce correctly, so yeah, I'm not gonna really try that. So I just start to read the poem, and the girls and the bullies. I don't have the screenshot for the bullies apparently, but they are basically just looking. And while Ondine just reads the poem, it was beautiful, but oh, never mind. I do have the screenshot of them. They were actually on the other side of the hedge. Listen, I say this when okay, so just looking at this and thinking back, this whole confrontation could just be avoided if the girls and these guys just see each other. Yeah. And maybe the pain will go away. So Kim laughed at the poem, but not because it's bad or it's stupid. It's just funny. And the reason why he says it's funny is because, for childish reasons, the words rhyme. It kind of makes it funny. And then how the story is also kind of funny as well. Because here's the thing, and I do think it might be the reason why he is always like this. Because after season 1, he became much more of a child, right? And now his imagination is more like a childlike state. And it makes sense. That means in his mind, there's just some sort of SpongeBob thing going on in his mind, taking in and just reapplying her story into that little cartoony style, which makes it funny. That's how I could see it. And to be honest, that's what most people, I think that's what most young kids, so you can't really blame them. But for Kim, actually you cannot blame Kim, because here's the thing. Besides minus Kagami and maybe Zoe, I think Zoe's here, and minus that new girl in the background, the one with the 2 puffballs on her head. To be honest, she did appear once, but she was never been a main character, and now she is. I don't know who she is. There's no episode about her. The only episode she appeared is episode 1, but she has no relation to the main cast, so like, who the freak is she? If Disney really just wanted to add in, another character, that's fine, but could we at least have an episode about this character? That's what's pissing me off right now. Okay, so that didn't work. Not exactly, because the girls kind of try to do rationalizing with that, but they want to break it down even further. So the dumbest guy has a plan, and and his plan is the most childish. And to be honest, I'm just glad that Kim really didn't go for it, because he might be childish, but at this point he can recognize game. He can recognize game for game. So all Kim really does back is also being, I cannot say the R word, stupid? Because technically this other guy is more stupid than Kim. So what Kim does is just being on his level, being stupid, is like, listen, you cannot talk to anybody. You cannot talk to her. You cannot see her or touch her or anything because I say so. Man, it's just like those Twitter people, man. It's just like those Twitter people. But like, Kim is like fighting back. And it's to a point where basically Kim just made this guy give up in a few seconds. Okay, so we do cut back, and then I don't have the screenshot apparently. I don't know why, but the blonde guy, the second tallest guy who was also blonde. I don't know, could they give him another hair color? You know, like two blonde people, it's like maybe a bit too much, you know. But either way, he basically heard this idea, right, about what the girls are gonna be doing, and it's the Pocky kiss. You guys don't remember about the Pocky kiss? It's kind of a trend, and still technically is for now. Right now, it's just for like playful people or in couples. But like, basically, take one end of a Pocky cookie, and you basically have the other person eat the other end. You guys just basically bite off until a point where your lips basically touch. It's basically for couples. It's a game for couples, and to be honest, it's cute. I could see Kim actually falling for this. But, of course, that's not exactly the guy's plan. His plan is to basically wait for the inevitable downfall here and just kind of attack him where he least expected, which is his mind games, and half truths and lies again. Maybe it's foreshadowing the other episodes or what happened to our main characters. Who knows? So Kim followed the trail of cookies, left out by Ondine, and they're about to do the thing. But unfortunately, Kim did pull out the Pocky out of her mouth with his mouth because it's not like she was going to finish it. It's kind of funny that he didn't actually grab it. He grabbed it with his own mouth, meaning how he's being a little playful. And to be honest, it is painful for me to say that technically I understand where Ondine is coming from, but this is technically Ondine's fault of being upset with Kim here, and it's because she should know she's his boyfriend. She knows how he acts. So I'm surprised at how he acts here. Are we just going to forget that these two actually like met for like a couple months already and not just a single day? You know, the timeline would be very screwy if all Miraculous took apart in one day. That brings Deku to shame. The world my hero cannot compare to what Marina has to face with one day's time. Jesus Christ, I hope that's not it, because it would ruin the whole timeline, honestly. And then we get this guy. Yeah, he came here and he basically says he does tell about truths about bacteria and all that stuff, right? And then kissing just exchange bacteria, which is true. Kissing, because of saliva, does exchange bacteria. It depends if the person is sick, okay? But it is kind of true. Healthy or bad, it is true. But then he goes to the lies, where basically, like, it basically turns you a frog of some sorts because of the bacteria, because she's a swimmer, and she's taller. Therefore, she will give you warts on your back, which makes you look like a frog. And Kim was horrified. Kim did actually believe that this is wrong. It's not correct information. Kim knows this. But Kim being a bit more gullible, and this guy actually persuading him a bit more, channeling his inner childlike mind. Yeah, it worked, unfortunately. And the episode kind of gone downhill a bit more from here. So the girls meet up again one more time, and now the last thing is that Marinette says, how about you just challenge Kim? And then she agrees. Trust me, this girl is not a Nazi or Nora, like, you know, Alia's cousin, older sister, but like, she's really yoked. She almost broke Marinette's spine by hugging her too tight. And yeah, she is technically out of the whole friend group, is the tallest girl. Not to mention she's a swimmer, she's a tomboy. I think Kim's really lucky, honestly. It is a bit sad that he's a little childish. So Kim was doing his homework. See? He's growing. Last time, Kim would not care about homework, but now he does. That's good. So the challenge she wanted for him is basically an arm wrestle, and Kim agrees to it. And she breaks the table. Now, some of you guys might say that Kim is lucky. I think Kim is lucky in two regards, honestly. Now, because here's the thing, the challenge was basically if whoever beats each other in the arm wrestle, they do whatever they say. It's like a dare. So Kim didn't agree, but then like her thing is like, okay, I win. Now you kiss me. Listen, guys. If any girl basically tells you something like that, I feel like and they break the table afterwards, I think you would have to do it, or else they will break you. And to be honest, Kim is strong as well, but I think he was not expecting for his GF to go all out on a single swing. Can't blame Kim here, but I feel like Kim should have known this, but he is too playful. Now his shock face here is because he was hoping for a 2 out of 3. Because of the kiss thing about that one guy. Remember from the previous few minutes? Yeah, and then he starts explaining in the most Kim way possible. And the most Kim way possible is more like the most childlike. It's like how a child basically would tell a reasoning to their mother. Kind of a little gibberish, doesn't exactly make much sense. And unfortunately, just like with any child and mother dynamic in a way, even though this is not exactly, but I feel like this is like a child of a mine and child of a freaking like older sister or something. This Ondine is just so pissed, and yeah, I mean I will be pissed too if a child doesn't tell me like what the fuck are you talking about. But I should say this, both the guys who were just in the background apparently, but the girls who were just hiding next to our doorway, they heard all this, and well, Ondine basically is very upset, so she ran away into the bathroom. Marinette, at this point, it's just like, why would Kim say stuff like this? And I am very... Okay, so here's the thing. I already know what they do for Marinette in like the future episodes, which they make her back to normal, which is good. Like all the lessons she learned and her understanding with her friends. Kim is her friend. Let's not forget about that. Yet Marinette's here just treating Kim like he's like back in season 1. Where at this point, she already knows who Kim is and how he acts. Plus, Kim is not a bully anymore, not a jock. He's not a jock anymore. He's just a lovable, childish type of guy. He could be your friend. He's not going to be too bright, but he's pretty gullible and naive, like a child. But that's just because Kim lives in a very simple life. And considering his parents, quote unquote. I'll talk about Kim's parents. You guys will be surprised about this. At least I think they're his parents. Sorry, I got an email. Maybe it's from school. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah. And Aya is just also saying this. Aya, you know Kim, maybe not as much as Marinette because you weren't that talkative to Kim, but at the very least, you should know how Kim is at this point. Every single character, almost like every single character that plays a role in this episode does not remember how Kim acts. It's like that one guy who hates Kim on YouTube, you know? It's kind of stupid. They're stuck in season 1 territory, just like him. If you guys don't know which YouTuber I'm talking about, for privacy's sake, I would not say their name, but like, if you know, you know. I have so much stuff to talk about, but we're just only halfway through the episode, but Trust me when I say this, everything goes very fast here because even though it's very epic in terms of the scale and the meaning of all this, there's not much to talk about. All the juice, all the technical juicy stuff is all in the first half of the episode. The second half is just normal miraculous action, which I feel like everybody would enjoy still, you know. But yeah, Marinette here. Let's go quick here. Like a lightning round. Marinette here basically says that she will take back Kim's miraculous because he was not worth. She was the mistake. It was a mistake that she gave to him because of how mean he is. Marinette, again, you know Kim. He's not mean. He is just stupid. Oh yeah, I kind of skip here, but like yeah, the whole world is flooded because of Ondine becoming Sleeping Syren. And of course, the Sleeping Syren is basically a play on reference to Sleeping Beauty. It's technically Sleeping Beauty, you know. So we did cut back to Kim. Kim sees all this. He knows this is all a trap by the villain, and then he has an idea to jump into the trash can. But yeah, Max also said like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, "I'm gonna warn the heroes." Kim being very heroic. He might be dumb, but he has a good heart. Marinette was going to call some heroes, but the first one that the Miraculous told her who would be a guarantee win is the Monkey King, which is Kim. However, she kicks it out, and then she calls everybody else because Kim was mean. I hate the writers for this episode. Like, they kind of just revert everybody back to season 1 status. Mostly the females. Jeez, I hope the writers and somebody in Disney needs to look at this guy. So after calling out all the heroes, they basically talk about where's Ivan? I still don't know what Ivan's hero name is, and they only said it once. Again, well, in this case, it makes sense, right? It makes sense that it would be once. But yeah, Ivan, he might be turned into a frog already. I kind of forgot that the aqua soldiers, the mer people, whoever they touch, they turn to frogs. It's supposed to be a toad, but it's a frog because it has smooth skin. Hairpace does bring up a good question. Where is the Monkey King? And Marinette's like, or Ladybug is like, we don't need him. While all the heroes basically split up, with basically Ladybug, Cat Noir, and Lady Dragon for God, I know this hero. I know Kagami's hero name. Ryoku. Yeah, Ryoku. Basically, they are going to go to the main place where they know where the villain is. Quote unquote the villain, which is basically the Sleeping Syren, right? While the others basically help the other people not to get turned into frogs. And then you have him. He's still trying to. His Kwame does say, why not you just transform? Him, he may be stupid, but he is a rule follower. And he knows the rules. He cannot transform unless Ladybug calls him. Unfortunately, this almost gets him. Yeah. There's the main guard guarding this place, and Ryoku basically fights them off while Ladybug Cat Noir tries to basically, get in. Unfortunately, Kim swims and tries to warn them, but since he's underwater, he kind of gurgles, and there was a person trying to attack him. With Ladybug and Cat Noir basically have their backs faced towards the soldier. The soldier took a stab at Kagami, and she turned into a frog underwater. Thank God I say frog, because if it was a toad, she would be dead already. Maybe that's why they turned frogs into toads. I don't know. Kind of wish they got toad and frog right. This is Disney. Disney should know what a frog and a toad is, actually. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. So with Kagami out of commission, Ladybug takes the Dragon Miraculous and basically does the Unified technique. Lady Dragon still looks really good. I also forgot to mention, this is technically the first, the time when I showed you guys the screenshot with Kagami, Ladybug, and Cat Noir. Cat Noir has a new redesign for his swimwear, and Ladybug, slightly. It's about the same, but just slightly. But yeah, in this screenshot right here. She basically talks to Kim. Why is he here? It's too dangerous. And Kim did try to talk to her about like why he not call, yada yada yada. But then Kim basically knows this is a trap, and Ladybug is like, well, why did you know that? And it's like, yeah, because here's the thing, Kim kind of knows what this is all about. Apparently he equates all this to Sleeping Beauty. Give him props to that. I don't know how he knows, but if he is pretty good and pretty on the nose. Marinette is still pissed about him, but when Kim says that this guy basically told him something, and then she's like, Kim, Kim, please stop being so gullible and stuff like that, right? Now, at this point, I understand the criticism, and Kim should know that not to trust everybody, and not try to trust everything he heard. But at the same time, I feel like Ladybug being still pretty agitated about all this is just, I don't know. In terms of if it's in the way of hero work, I understand, but this is like normal things. I guess technically that also proves that, still, even with Marinette's higher position at this point, she is still a teenager with feelings. And I think, for the most part, including myself, we all kind of forgot about that. But there's always a time and a place. And with the context of the whole episode, because of the writer's fumble, I don't know. I don't know what happened in like episode 4, 5, and now this episode is just like, it's just like erasing almost everybody's memories just for the sake of the story. I don't know why. The only person who was untouched by this is Kim and every other bystander who does not have a very significant role, including the girlfriend. Well, to be honest, no. Ondine, no, I could actually forgive her for her actions in this episode. It makes sense, and she's kind of frustrated. But it does make sense because she also has a childlike innocence just like him. But she is a slightly bit more mature, but not exactly to a point where like, she can be on equal understanding with Kim, because Kim is a bit more unpredictable. Like Sun Wukong, unpredictability. We do get a Kim transformation, and to be honest, it looks really cool and really fluid. Also, he does have a slight redesign, and to be honest, at least it doesn't look like shit. His the new face design they gave him actually fits a lot with Sun Wukong basically, and makes him more monkey-like, unlike a person who's trying to do a bad cosplay of a monkey. Let's skip a little bit ahead. If you guys remember, Kim's ability is basically he summons an item, and the item he throws at, if it touches something, it transforms into basically what the item kind of represents. In this case, he threw something coffee related, and then it turned to a mug. A monkey mug. I think it's cute. They gone in because I didn't show it earlier, but Kim uses a bag, a tea bag, and threw it at the water, turned into like tea bubbles, and then Marinette, Ladybug, basically turned into go to a wind transformation because she has the power of the dragon. Remember that? She basically air bends all the water, all the bubbles out of the area. So basically all the water has been depleted. Now we have the water dragon who shoots water. This should be a Pokemon. Ladybug has a bag of cement, so you know the drill. Cement break over dragon, then use wind to dry off the cement, making to a stone dragon. Don't worry, the stone dragon is not alive because it's dead. It's a water dragon. It can only move in water, not stone. I gotta say, it does look better as stone. Now we get to where the sleeping Syren is. Now, here's the thing. Cat Noir does give a good point up, which is, well, if it's a fairy tale, should somebody just kiss her? And here's the thing, and Disney knew about this already, right? So the thing is that, well, Marinette's like, well, we can't kiss her. There's no consent in it. Good. It may be a good thing for fairy tales, but technically speaking, this is a still real life society that they live in with standards, and they do. Another email from school, really? To be honest, I don't know why I keep getting these emails. But regardless, because of this, it makes sense, right? And they're in an actual society where they distinct from fantasy, and realism. In this fantasy world, it still buys with some of our real world culture, and that includes modern culture. And kissing without consent is a bad thing, even if this is supposed to be represented of a fairy tale where basically the laws of reality is not exactly, should not be true, and just for entertainment purposes. But Disney is Disney. But to be honest, even in the Thomas era, we do have these little bits of things here. So it's kind of good that they at least respect each other's consent, That's good. That's a good thing to tell kids. Ask for consent, and if they don't, you know what to do. Just call the police or something like that, Just a trusted adult because somebody is abusing you and stuff like that, It should not be taken lightly. But yeah. So basically, him being the monkey that he is, he smells bananas. Monkey King, monkey bananas. Ooh. And he smells something bananas. He knows the lipstick. They break the lipstick, but there's no Kuma in it. Kim, don't worry, Kim's not gonna kiss. He actually keeps smelling the bananas, and he noticed that her lips has the banana lip balm. In the very beginning of the episode, it's foreshadowing this moment. So what Kim does is that he uses his power to summon a pencil, and he basically puts the eraser bud on her lips. It erases the special effect of the lipstick and then turns into a snorkel. The snorkel is what her Kumtai's item is, apparently. I don't remember Ondine having a snorkel with her. I watched this episode twice because of how asinine the writing is, surprisingly, but yeah, I don't remember a snorkel. And after breaking the snorkel to Kuma, everything's back to normal. And basically, Ladybug says the truth here. Him, literally without any powers, although it doesn't belong to her, remember, sacred identity. Kim did sacrifice his own life just to try to save her. And Ondine fully believes that, because that is Kim. No matter what, he is always there, super loyal. To be honest, I feel like maybe Kim being a dumber Rainbow Dash might have been much more sense. Villain speech from the new Hawkbuff, blah blah blah. So these two basically make it out, right? Kim apologizes for being very too naive, a little dumb, not taking account to her feelings. And Ondine, unlike Marinette, early seasons, she actually does understand what she did was kind of wrong. While she does want her fantasies to be real, she knows about the real thing, that it's up to Kim if they want to kiss. And if they don't, at least as they know they love each other, that's all she wants. So Kim has the idea that, why the hell not? I did not get a good screenshot because it's very, very fast. But it's a kiss. This really reminds me a lot of This almost reminds me a lot of the ending of the first Sly Cooper game, where Sly Cooper kissed Carmelita Fox. It feels like that, but a quicker version. But after that, Kim's like, I actually like that. And then so does Ondine, and they start pecking each other on the cheeks and the lips, and they don't lock lips. They just kept pecking each other. It's really cute. However, all the girls are very, very uncomfortable of how childish this is. Sure. Also, Marinette knows a new game. It's the Pocky Kiss, and he's gonna do it on Adrien. And at least Adrien knows what's up, and he plays it, and they kiss. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this technically is the first time we see Ivan here. Not kissing, but just hugging. And it's also the first time we see Felix in a long time. And yeah, remember about the gayest episode? Well, I guess it also is. I guess it's confirmed that these two are a natural couple very early in the season. That brings episode 15 down a point. Because why not let them kiss in the actual episode and just leave it here about like 9 episodes beforehand? Maybe epic foreshadowing? Because technically speaking, they never kiss except for this part. Why is Mark and Nathaniel, why are they here? Why are they kissing right now? Like in the back, why? Oh yeah, and before the end credits, this mysterious figure just jumped and attacked the 3 bullies. And yeah, that's about it. And just that. It's just that. No transition or anything. Just after that person pounced on them, it just hard cut. That's it. Editing is really weird today for this episode. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. Listen, here's the thing. I will start with the good things first. This episode is really sweet and heart-melting. And yeah, I do like it just because of how innocent and childlike wonder it is. So much innocence, and I really do like that. I also think that Kim is a very lucky bastard. Ondine is technically what most people want what most guys want from their GF, at least in this modern age. And I don't lie, I kind of wish I had one like that too. Or one that could break tables and could kill me. You know, I feel like Markiplier would actually like to have a girl like that. Remember? Well, wait a minute, I think he does have one like that. We shouldn't forget about Lady B, his fascination with Lady B, now should we? But I would have to say some of the negatives on this. And the biggest negative of this episode is the same thing that happened technically in episode 7, but not to the same degree. Plus, it is a bit worse in episode 7, which is the next episode. If you're watching on the playlist, don't worry. That episode I actually have much more better feelings about, but like for this one, it's very super mixed because here's the thing, the writing for this episode, every single character, apparently they're all female, right? Apparently every single female character that's a main character in this episode basically dumbed down a lot. And minus Ondine, because technically I could forgive her just a tiny bit because she's not with him all that much. And technically speaking, their relationship is basically the 3rd latest in the series. So yeah, that's just fine. But also, everybody getting dumbed down, Marinette not remembering how Kim acts, Aya as well, every other girl, basically. And then just like, yeah, of course. Then Ondine, she might be a late bloomer in terms of being in the Miraculous cast of the main characters, and of course in this season and last season she appears surprisingly in the school for some reason, but she should know how Kim acts because Kim is now her boyfriend and all that stuff. She should know by now. But I also do understand where she's coming from, unlike the other characters, because for Ondine, she is a bit childlike in her demeanor as well, and more in her mindset in terms of more of the fairy tale innocence of a child rather than of the innocence of a naive child, you know? But yeah, I also do hate how all of this could be avoided by just simple talking. But also a very obvious thing is that if the guys and the girls saw each other, then we have a new dynamic and a new problem where the girls would be suspicious about the 3 new bullies, and then maybe they'll be a bit more cautious and trying to tell Ondine what's happening. But since Ondine is a technical mirror to Marinette, she would be a little oblivious just like Marinette was in the early seasons, and therefore when the girls try to talk to her, it's technically Ondine having a blind love attraction and then trying to get that, but knowing that it failed, leading to her own heartbreak. Unlike this one, where it's just a misunderstanding where we know, but frustratingly, all the characters who just kind of dumbed down and forgot who and how Kim acts. I know I'm now loud, but you can tell by my loud as how frustrated I am for this, but I am trying to keep this on the low down, you know? I also have this screenshot, and I remember now. This spider shirt. If this is Alya's sister, I'll be very surprised. I hope we get to see her soon. But yeah, that's about it for this review. Overall, I really want to give this episode a 7 to 8 out of 10 just because of the story and where they're trying to go with this. But with the writing of this episode, this is the worst episode of the season. No, not the worst. This is the second worst episode of the season so far. And that's surprising because, to be honest, there was an earlier episode where I really hate, which is unfortunate because it has a very good message and Marinette learns a very good lesson. However, that lesson is supposed to be what she learned earlier in Season 5. And while they did a better job doing that lesson, it's just not that great because goddamn. And now this one is just, yeah. I remember now. The episode I really hate, I think it's the one where Marinette, where the new girl, the one that ran with Adrien in episode 2. Yeah, episode 2. Then we skipped 3. Episode 4. So episode 4 was the worst episode. Then we have episode 6, which is the second worst episode. I'm just kind of glad because I feel like I would have lost hope at this point. But yeah, I would give I'll be generous to this episode because I do like the dynamic, and I feel like Kim is a very lucky bastard, and I have to give him points for that as well. Having a strong, tall, and kind G. Am I down bad? I may be. But I guess I'm so pissed that I am kind of down bad, I guess. I don't know. 6 out of 10. I'm going to say it, 6 out of 10. It's an above average episode. It's bad, to be honest. Here's the thing. If this was still in the Thomas era where like Thomas Auguste and the original writers were this, I would give this episode like a 7 out of 10 because, to be honest, yeah, but I feel like Disney should have known better. That's why I have it lower, and that's why I'm a bit more harsh on season 6 because it's Disney. Because Disney took over the writing and animation for the series, and they could have done better with this. Now, here's the thing: I know they done better. Episode 15 is proof of that, and of course, episode 7 to a certain degree. But this episode and episode 4 is just they have big highs and big lows, which is surprising because I thought that maybe episode 1 has the biggest. I thought season 1 has the highest high and highest lows, but lowest lows. But like, no, it's this season. It's this season specifically. I don't know. 6 out of 10. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm rambling a bit too much. So yeah, I'll see you guys all next time.